All of the videos that I have made surrounding drama, from Brian Jackson to Ellie Gedelia, have been on people that I don't like. But if I want to be honest with myself, I would spit in the face of my morals and all that I've preached for the last 7 months if I didn't talk about this situation. So today, this video is about 2 people. One of them I quite like. The other one I have never spoken to. Some of you who have been here even before I had 2,700 subscribers may know the story, actually. So, me being the person that I am, uploaded a video about Heavy the Squid. You know the guy, the one that tried to get into an underage girl's panties. The same guy who's left quite an ironic but tragic legacy. I digress. This video utilized the banner of a YouTube channel called Team Downfall. And the artist who made the banner, they weren't quite happy with that. The thing you have to understand about that video is that it was 100% fair use. The banner was used for less than 4% of the video, and it was transformative content due to the criticism I gave the piece. Nevertheless, they copyright struck my video, which gave me my first ever strike. There's a first time for everything. So me, being the kind soul that I am, asked anyone who would listen to get me in contact with this person. And when I got their Discord tag, I went into their DMs as professional as I could have been, and I'm still amazed at how professional I was at the time. Turns out, if you're polite to people and present them with evidence of them doing something illegal, or at least against YouTube TOS, you can actually get them to back down. That, and I am a most charming individual. The chat lasted actually quite some time. I think it must have been from 30 to 40 minutes. Us switching from Dutch to English and back to English again, and me slowly revealing myself to be the meme lord that I am. They even offered to draw me my dear, my precious caramel as a token of their thanks. I think anyway, because in my eyes I should be the one offering a service. They took down my video after all. Then again, I don't think anyone would be interested in SFM render by me because, they look terrible. Time passed and they offered to do the interview for one of my longest lasting projects. I'll put up a card if you want to see that. And they gave me even more stuff, including a month worth of Discord Nitro. How generous. Now, I'm not a good receiver of gifts, so when someone gives me stuff, stuff that takes money or effort, and they do it in such quick succession, that usually gets my noggin jogging, but that's just me. Which brings us to today. We're still friends, or at least I think we are, and I've commissioned them for these 2 sprites. Again, they gave me extra stuff on top of that. Now this person changed his name quite a lot, so I'm going to refer to them as Aki from now on, since that's the name of their original character. What a dumb name for an original character, by the way. The character's not even named after a confectionery treat. So what has actually happened to cause such outrage? To have so many people jump on this one person who I faintly know. Well, let's just say it ain't pretty. Aki is an artist. She's an ex-professional Splatoon 2 player. 3rd place in the EU Dutch division, I am led to believe. She's also a Twitter warrior. She might brand herself as a trans activist, but I might have a smudge of skepticism on that shiny trophy, if you will. She also does keep finding herself in controversy. And in these exchanges she has over said controversies, there's always 2 common denominators. 1, Aki, of course. 2, they either revolve around or mention the words paedophile, grooming, racism, sexism, transphobia, or homophobia. Keep this in mind, this is important later on. Furthermore, Aki is also a perpetual liar, lying about various things, from having had intercourse with a man halfway across the world to not being pregnant when she clearly has been. I have had the pleasure of hearing youngling noises when we were playing Splatoon together. These lies are perhaps the main source of controversy surrounding the current situation. Now, I am a poor judge of character, my video backlog proves that, but I cannot recall a single instance where she lied to me, which, seeing how this story is quite personal, leads me to think there's either 1 or 2 things going on. Either she A, puts up a big facade that I am involved in, or B, lies little to not at all to me personally. Of course, if anyone was in my shoes, they'd hope for the answer to be B. I'm not sure what to think, which is part of the reason why I'm making this video as long as it is. I think it would have been both unfair and against my character to neglect this situation, seeing the accusations we're dealing with. Because that's not only nasty, it generally just doesn't really do anything. But I can hear you've been waiting for the breakdown of the actual situation at hand, so without keeping you waiting for much longer, what's been happening? When early in 1928, the construction of a new and more powerful mixed traffic engine was underway at Swindon. The two-cylinder 460 Express engine St. Martin was fitted with coupled wheels of 6 feet diameter in place of the original 6 feet 8 inches set. Observations on its capacity led to the now numerous Hall class of 460, which are fitted with standard boilers using the 2800 consolidations, and the 4-cylinder and 2-cylinder 460 of the Star, Princess and Count classes. The Hall class are used largely on semi-fast and excursion trains, and are by no means unknown on express work. But their maximum axle load of 18.95 tons and a weight of 3.83 tons per foot of coupled wheelbase restrict the routes of which they can be used, compared to the Grange and Manor classes. Some, if not all of you, know your way around the Splatoon YouTube community by now. There are many different types of content, but generally they can be split up in 3 different groups. There's the artist, the player, and the animator. Artist is perhaps the broadest spectrum on this list, since it can be anything ranging from the composition of music to creating woolen figurines. The animator we're far too familiar with here on the Flying Scott channel, and generally they create animation in either Garry's Mod or Source Filmmaker, to varying degrees of quality. But today we're going to be focusing on the players, YouTubers like Octoboy, Viantastic, and Etce. Etce is the one we're going to be focusing on today. Etce is more of a variety channel rather than a purely Splatoon based one, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he has uploaded quite a few Splatoon videos. Etce, on the surface level, comes across as a wee bit ingenuine with his reactions, but that might just be a style difference.
Oh, he's all the way over there. I'm good. No! They all have splatter shot bros! I don't enforce the stereotype if we win. I don't want Kivер to hate me.
To add to that, he keeps going on about how he wants to reach 100k subscribers. Now, I'm the last person qualified to talk about other people's analytics, but laddie, your 50k subscriber special was last year. I think you should move the goalpost a wee bit closer if you want to seem less pretentious. Being humble is quite a reward on its own. Personal gripes aside, Etce and Aki have a special kind of relationship. Aki was his mod, you see. And if you have the privilege and responsibilities of being a moderator, there must be certain levels of trust in your relationship. If you were to ask Etce, that was all it was, a professional relationship between content creator and moderator. He certainly wasn't looking for anything more than that, which I can respect. I know more than a handful of YouTubers who look for a wee bit more in their female fans. However, if you were to ask Aki at the time what their relationship was, it becomes a little complicated. See, wherever you'd go on Aki's social media, be it Twitter or Discord, you would be led to believe that her and Etce were in a romantic relationship. She was pretty insistent about it too, convincing her entire circle of friends that she was in a romantic relationship. This includes the aforementioned Octoboy and Viantastic. What these people either overlooked or were simply not aware of is that Aki lives in the lowlands, Kikkerlandje, Holland, the Netherlands. Etce, on the other side, is a Yank. Now, you have to understand that Aki really seemed to want their non-existent relationship to be believable, which on a surface level isn't too hard to do since they both livestream together. But behind the scenes, Aki was going as far as to call everyone showing surface level interest in Etce obsessive, and even bullying them to some extent. Of course, that is a bold claim to make when you pretend to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't feel the same way about you, but that's just the beginning. According to Etce, there was lots of emotional abuse going on in their relationship, but he was too afraid to walk away since he thought she was going to cancel him. I find this a weak argument, if an argument at all, since if he knew he didn't do anything wrong, why would he be scared of someone lying about you when you have proof of the accusation being false? But I'll get to that later. During their non-relationship, Aki called out Rockenberg for being a paedophile, as you do, and while I myself am not too familiar with that situation since I was probably too busy listing reasons why Overwatch is inferior to TF2 at the time, which is 100% correct by the way, but the overall consensus seemed to be that said accusations are false. As far as I'm aware, this incident made Aki and Etce fall out until they got back in contact again in May of 2018. Which is almost 2 years ago at this point. Aki was still flirting with Etce at the time, saying the usual I love you, or whatever couples do, I dinna ken. But, oh dear. Do you smell something burning? I think it's that inkling over there. Do I smell a bun in the oven? That's right, my dear viewer, while Aki was still pretending to be in a relationship with Etce, she found herself to be pregante. Then, if I listen to the man himself, She suddenly broke off all contact and made up a story about how Etce was mad that she was going to keep her baby. Which is such a particular twist to give to it, it's too outrageous to be believed by me, and I'm the most gullible fucker you'll ever find. And now the story has changed again. Now the story is that Etce lied to her about liking her and groomed her back when she was 19. Which, if I listen to anyone around during that situation, is far from the truth. And with that, we have the situation. We have a YouTuber who tells a story of abuse with all of his friends confirming said story, and we have a woman who tells lies. But I'd be doing us all a disservice if I didn't go a wee bit deeper. An event of 1944 was the appearance on British lines of numerous 210O freight locomotives, the first 10 coupled engines to work anywhere in these islands except on the Lickey Incline and the ex-Great Eastern London suburban routes. These new locomotives were designed under the auspice of the Ministry of Supply for use abroad, but all of them hitherto have been well run in on British lines, and a sight of them at work was not uncommon. The principal object of this new design was to reduce the maximum axle load of the preceding 280 design from the very moderate figure of 15 3/4 tons to a low value of 13.5 tons, and thus to provide an engine which might be used on light and even improvised tracks. Now, over the time that we've been friends, Aki has revealed many things to me. I thought I knew one or two things about this woman, but seeing what I've seen in the past few weeks, I'm not sure whether that information is accurate anymore. For example, she told me she was an e-girl at some point in her life. Seeing how she was flirty with both Etce and Rockenberg, as said by Etce himself, I somewhat see where that information has its grounds. Here's the interaction where she revealed her promiscuous internet persona to me.
Okay, like when I was around 19 and I was really lonely, moving away from all your friends, I resorted to flirting with a lot of dudes at the same time on the internet to validate myself. Unfortunately, 2 of them caught feelings while I kept thotting around and they somehow talked to each other about it and ousted me, which naturally backfired. God, I was scum. But I guess the fucked up part is that I could get away with it because I'm cutie girl woo.
This statement has always bugged me. From the outset I would have not deduced that the person that I was / am friends with had it in them to act like this, yet here we are. Another story she told was about her father. The comment was made on a live stream, the VOD of which is no longer with us, but I can give you the gist of what she said. Basically, she was telling a story about going out with her biological father. It is important to note that she specifically said biological father. As someone who comes from a broken household, I can safely say that when a person feels the need to add biological to the mix, shit went down. And I was correct in my assumption, as Aki confirmed it when I joked about it in her livestream chat. Another person who has far more experience with Aki than I do, called Olivia, was kind enough to tell me that Aki did mention an abusive father once or twice. This does add a wee bit of credibility to my own conspiracy theory of Aki moving to the States to get away from her family, as some youths do. For those of you who didn't know, she was born in the Netherlands, moved to San Francisco when she was really young, but then moved back to the Netherlands when she was less young. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to defend Aki in this situation. The things she has done to Etce and other people for the sake of what appears to be clout range from questionable to downright horrible. It is, however, important to look at the reasoning behind these actions taken, as I have always done in my videos. So far, the only one to give me their motives was Ghost of Time, the owner of the Loot House server. His motives basically boiled down to, because I could get away with it, my fans are dumb. I want to refer back to the DM she sent me regarding her e-girl escapades.
I was really lonely. I resorted to flirting with a lot of dudes at the same time on the internet to validate myself.
I mean, I think we can all agree that's pretty sad. And not like pathetic sad. No, I mean full on boo-hoo sad. Okay, maybe not that sad seeing the actions taken, but it's worthy of a short performance by the world's smallest violin. From this information I can at least piece together a story about why Aki did the things that she did in relation to Etce. I'm not interested in her involvement with Sugar Crush. I feel like that has little to do with the situation, and that's another video for a different person to make. So without further ado, let me explain what I think happened. A 19-year-old Aki moves away from her parents due to bad family relations. She goes to her country of birth, the Netherlands. Raised in a typical Cali way, this includes a very strong identity political compass. Away from all her friends, she tries to make friends based on shared interest. Splatoon is a big factor here. Aki competes in a tournament and ranks 3rd in the EU division. This creates an inflated sense of power. Already having had her time with the spotlight, a still young Aki is involved with the online Splatoon scene. But when people don't give her the gratification she thinks she has the right to, she starts to climb the social ladder, getting close to big YouTubers. Then, when close enough to these people, she assumes roles of power within their community. Moderators, co-hosts, and even telling people that she is dating one. She's 20 by this point. When people catch her on her lies, she panics and goes on the defense. Being raised in Cali, her old identity political compass rears its ugly head and shifts the story from her being caught to the YouTuber grooming her. How could she have done something wrong? She is a woman after all. And she was 19 when her and the YouTuber met, which could with some nudging still be seen as a child. During this time, she meets a Dutchman and gets pregnant. The Dutchie is the father. Being pressured into backing off, she claims the YouTuber is gaslighting her and goes to lay low. I am 100% aware that this story is rather generalizing and straight to the point, but I feel like it paints a picture that anyone with an IQ above room temperature can comprehend. This theory might seem like a shot in the dark, and it is, since none of us seem to know anything about this woman. And despite being left to guess in a lot of this scenario, I have a faint feeling that I'm at least close to being almost correct, but that could just be my ego. But I can't just sit here and give one person involved who I don't completely trust a B-14 truth bomb and let the other get away without a scratch. So, let's talk about Etce. The first really new locomotive, under the design of Mr. E. Thompson after succeeding the late Sir Nigel Gresley as Chief Mechanical Engineer of the London North Eastern Railway, was a fast freight 460, the first of which, number 8301 Springbok, was completed in the end of 1942. For the first time since the 1923 grouping of the LNER, mainline classes of locomotives was built with only 2 cylinders. The first batch of these engines was constructed at Darlington Works, and they are intended to operate over nearly all of the company's lines. They have a nominal tractive effort under the usual rules, which is inferior only to those of the Pacific and Green Arrow classes among the mainline passenger and mixed traffic types on the London North Eastern Railway. Etce is a YouTuber, obviously, and he's on that YouTube grind like the rest of us. As previously mentioned, he seems very open about his goal being to grow as a channel. His Twitter bio is a testament to that. Now again, I can't knock that, but being at least a little self-aware could come a long way. I hate to bring up that 50k special again, but you get my point. If there's any feeling Etce gives me personally, it's of someone who seems ambitious. Other than that, there's not really any flaws in his character I can spot, but this is followed by a very apprehensive yet. And our dear protagonist of this rather one-sided and tragic anime made a video not too long ago about his relationship and experience with Aki. The video is bad. Not in production quality, far from it. I use Windows Movie Maker for half my videos, so I'm the last person suitable to criticize that. No, rather the video is a showcase of Etce being more concerned about his own reputation than anything else, which I understand. YouTube audiences are fickle mistresses at the end of the day. One wee smudge on your record could ruin your chances with them, but that doesn't really seem like an excuse for the actions he has taken. I sense a pattern in the script I'm writing here. The video is basically about what I just said it is, a recollection of Etce's experiences with Aki, and I won't address those because those are personal, and they are backed up by irrefutable evidence. It is pretty useless to go against those points. However, I feel like it would be only fair if I were to point out some flaws in logic and wording. I've done it with Aki, so why shouldn't I do the same with Etce?
They told many people that we dated, despite me telling her no, we're not, and despite her constant pressuring. I don't date anyone that I haven't met in real life, and she lived on a different continent across the planet. Everyone knew how obsessive her tendencies with me were, to the point that I just had to keep her pacified so she wouldn't slander me.
Wait, so did you say you were in a relationship with her or didn't you? That statement seems rather contradictory. On top of that, this is the first of few occasions where Etce is scared of slander. As someone who has been slandered by people statistically larger than me, I can safely tell you that the people who believe such slander weren't going to like or watch you in the first place. There is nothing wrong with saying the slander is false, because your fans will believe you regardless of it being true or not. And in the end, you wouldn't have lost a thing. If anything, it gives you more exposure.
This eventually turned into a twisted relationship where I couldn't call her out for anything she did wrong, and she got to use me to talk to my YouTuber buddies. I've overlooked almost every travesty that she's committed to me and my friends and other undeserving people. Brushed all that under the rug because I just wanted to be left alone. But when you start lying and using words like grooming and gaslighting to describe me, I have never groomed or gaslit anybody in my life, and you are not the exception.
Here Etce is inadvertently saying he's willing to let Aki do her things against friends of his as long as Etce is not involved. Which is just a dick move, to be honest. If you're too much of a coward to help your friends out because it could tarnish your own reputation, then are you even a friend at all?
As a person who's actually helped people out of situations where they were being groomed and gaslit, I am highly offended. Highly offended. These vague lies are the same ones that get dug up like in 2, 3, 4 years from now and used against someone to crush this person and their career. And I don't want that.
Again, Etce showcases that he's mostly scared for his own reputation, which is odd since he has the receipts to prove that these lies are wrong. So why would he worry about anyone caring about them in a few years from now? Secondly, no one who has done good deeds for the sake of it brags about having done good deeds, as then you're trivializing the cause of the deed itself, and you're only doing it to gain some clout. Something which you seem rather keen on anyway. You could have just said, I take offense, because that is a lie, and there was no need to brag about what you've done for other people to strengthen your argument. I won't go into the rest of the video because more of the same flaws in his choice of words and the irrefutable evidence I mentioned before. I will leave you to draw your own conclusions. I have already drawn mine. At the end of the day, who really knows what exactly everyone's goal is? But I do hope I have made it clear that it is important to understand the reasoning behind the actions taken, as then the true intent comes forward. But we must also see that everyone sees what they want to see. Maybe Aki truly did believe they were in a relationship. Maybe Etce is just poor with words and I happen to find occasions where his words are a detriment to his cause. Again, none of us know, because anyone would be lying for their own agenda. This is the internet after all. The ones of you who have been paying closer attention might have noticed that about a quarter into the video I stopped addressing Aki as a them and instead just with a she, which I did because she personally told me it was okay if I called her that, but also to see whether this video and my choice of pronoun usage will be used against me. Then again, if that's the sole thing she decides to focus on, there's nothing I can do about it. If someone does not want to listen, who am I to charge at them, telling them that they are wrong? Tell me, how many of you actually listened to the train inserts? One wee thingy that I still have to haphazardly patch to the video is this interaction that I had with the man himself, actually. And, I have mixed feelings about this interaction. I don't know if you have mixed feelings about this interaction after seeing it, but I'll just leave you to your own conclusions. Thank you for watching, and I leave you with this. Indeed, I understand why you would think that I'm doing all of this from a perspective where I want to defend someone that I think, and that's a very important part, think is my friend. Mm-hmm. But I can assure you that as of now, I'm doing all of this from my own accord. I've not spoken really to her since all of this went down on via both Twitter and YouTube now. Mm-hmm. And I can assure you that, as in with all my exposés, as I would like to frivolously call them, that yes, I will always have the stance of what is morally and, of course, legally correct.
Of course.
I won't actively
correct or just?
Just, I think, is indeed the better way of wording that, because there's no such thing as correct morality.
Of course, that's of course.
Yes.
Continue.
That being said, whatever pops up that I don't quite fancy, I will, of course, speak about that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying this as a way to intimidate you, because let's be real, I have 5% of the subs you have.
Yes.
Intimidating you would be a stupid thing for me to do.
No, I wanna explain to you. Me specifically, I'm not going. I know you're taking this as a neutral party now. I'm aware of that. So whatever you say or whatever you do, I'll take it neutrally, and I'll just, I'll take it. I'm not gonna send a hate mob or anything. I always tell people that, but of course they're gonna do what they do.
It's more
but
of a gesture than
yeah, it's
a
more of a
promise.
gesture. Exactly. I can't promise you that people won't, but I can tell you that I can try to make people not. And
That's
whatever
already more than the other YouTubers that I've been in contact with, I'll tell you that much.
yeah, I don't believe in canceling someone. If someone has any, like problems with me or anything, I want it to be based on my own merit rather than what I have and what other people say about me. So that's why I'm here to answer your questions, so you can get what you need for your thing, or you can not. Like, you can just, if you wanted to drop it, you could do either one. It wouldn't matter, because I don't want you to think that I'm going to cancel you, because I'm not going to try that.
Of course you're
I
not
want you to be
going
comfortable in what you're doing. So if
YouTubers
you
way larger than me have taken shots at me, and I'm still here.
exactly,
Way larger, about 5k, but you know what I mean. It's
Yeah, I know what you
I'm
mean.
not scared about being deplatformed. That's nothing that's going to happen, because
people love
plain
it.
and
Like,
simply
people love
am. Indeed, I'm a simple server of the
Yes.
public, so to speak. The public
Yes.
just happens to like tea. Now,
The
I,
public
of course, in my rather journalistic nature, love to comply, because I love investigating stuff like this. Therefore, it
Of
would
course.
be very, I wouldn't say contradictory, but very damning to my character, my integrity, and even my own fucking morals, if I went about this and I said, this is about someone that I would say I like, so therefore I'm going to drop it. No, that's stupid. That is
Yes,
so
but at the
stupid.
same time, I just want to make sure when you put whatever you're going to put out, that all the facts are correct and everything is in order to construct an informational narrative that is true. That's all I want. If it's about me, and if it's bad things about me, I want them to be true. That's all I want. I want them to be true.
I wouldn't say any reason why I would lie.
I don't know. I've never met you. And the first impression I have of you is you calling me a creep. So I don't know how you got that. And I can only
was
assume.
from Mary's experience. I'm not very well versed in Twitter lurking, but I've seen how people do it, so I based my judgment off of what I heard from someone else. And
Heard from what?
therefore- From Mary. I this entire thing is because I heard it from Mary. Like, believe it or not, Aki has surprisingly little to do with my first impression of you as a person. I, of course, know you as a YouTuber. I don't really watch you, but I've watched you in the past, so I'll give it that. So I thought that when this happened, initially, that I was just going to blow over in the day. My judgment was once more incorrect, and now I'm sitting here with a script on my hands which could either, I wouldn't say ruin, but make relations between someone that I've worked with in the past a little unfavorable, and perhaps I could spread blatant lies about someone that I don't know, that I haven't met up until this point, but someone that I have heard negative things about. This is why most of my exposés don't come out within the minute of shit happening. The only exception being the Lewd House, because
that
I
was
saw
crazy.
that and that happened in the evening, and I could just work on that script and the video like 2 days straight.
Yes.
So that's the only exception. That being said, I will take my time on this one. If people think this is cold tea, then so be it. But I'll at least know that I have spoken to you. As of now, I don't have any questions written down yet because I was still working on the introduction and the backstory of all that. So I am only hoping that if I ever get around to posting said questions, that you'd be here to answer them.
Of course.
And that I can eventually use them in what I suspect will be a rather hard video for me to make. But that's
That sounds absolutely...
that's not of your concern. I was just feeling sorry for myself again. Right. I have to help someone get a couch together. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming, and I will hope that we'll speak very, very soon.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you around later.
Yep.